Before the 1600s, Manhattan was not a city. It was a dense forest of rivers, streams, and seasonal villages. The Lenape people had lived here for generations. They farmed corn, beans, and squash. They hunted deer and fished the rivers. Land was shared among families and clans. There were no fences, no deeds, no permanent ownership. For the Lenape, land was life, not property. In 1609, Henry Hudson sailed into the Hudson River, looking for trade opportunities for the Dutch. The Dutch were not explorers searching for freedom. They were traders looking for profit. Europe had a booming demand for beaver fur, used to make luxury hats. The Lenape hunted beavers in the forests, while the Dutch controlled ships, weapons, and the European markets. Trade began. Metal tools and cloth were exchanged for fur. Both sides benefited at first. The Lenape received tools and gifts they had never seen, and the Dutch gained highly valuable commodities for Europe. 17 years later, in 1626, Dutch Governor Peter Minuit met with the Lenape leaders. Goods worth about $24, beads, cloth, and metal tools were exchanged. The Dutch recorded this as the purchase of Manhattan Island, but the Lenape did not understand it as a sale. To them, it was an agreement to share the land, to allow the newcomers to settle and trade alongside them. They did not believe land could be owned permanently or sold for goods. No war erupted immediately. Life continued, but the rules of ownership had quietly changed. Over the next decades, New Amsterdam grew. Dutch farms expanded north. Warehouses appeared along the riverbanks. Rent was collected for the first time. For the Lenape, fences were a symbol of exclusion. For the Dutch, fences represented ownership. Dependency on trade increased. Firearms replaced bows and arrows. Metal tools replaced stone tools. Hunting intensified, especially for beavers, which were becoming increasingly scarce. When resources declined, the Lenape had nothing left to trade. Hunger, debt, and social strain followed. The seeds of conflict had been sown. By 1643, tensions erupted into violence. Governor Willem Kieft ordered attacks on Lenape refugee camps near Pavonia and Corlearshoek. Over 100 men, women, and children were killed in the first strikes. Lenape warriors retaliated, burning Dutch farms and settlements. Trade routes collapsed. The Dutch could sustain the conflict by importing soldiers and purchasing weapons. The Lenape could not. By 1645, they were forced to retreat inland, losing access to the land they had lived on for generations. Manhattan was now fully controlled by Europeans. In 1664, the English seized New Amsterdam without significant resistance and renamed it New York. The Dutch and the English continued the system of private land ownership. The $24 mistake symbolized a pattern that would repeat across the continent. Trade created dependency. Dependency led to land loss. Land loss led to conflict. And conflict resulted in the removal of native tribes. Over the following decades, the Lenape and other Native Americans lost the most fertile and strategic lands, not through single battles, but through economic displacement backed by force. Their traditional systems could not compete with European markets, money, and ownership laws. When trade goods ran out or debts accumulated, native societies had no legal or economic recourse. Villages were abandoned or destroyed. Entire ways of life were irreversibly altered. Manhattan became New York. New York became America. And it all began with a single misunderstanding over $24, a trade of beads, cloth, and tools that the Lenape thought was permission to share the land. That $24 mistake set in motion the loss of land, livelihoods, and an entire culture. It was the collision of two economic systems, with tragic consequences for one and the birth of modern America for the other.